So, everybody's situation is different. There's no specific how-tos that are going to fit everybody. But everybody must deal with principles. The other part is that this is about inspiration. This is about keeping you in the fight. This is about giving you the encouragement that you need to stay in it week by week, day by day, but doing it in a way that leaves some very sound and profound principles established in your heart and mind. And so that's where we are in the transformation process. And it's my contention that the transformation of our minds is what leads to the transformation of everything else. A transformed mind is a transformed life. A disciplined mind leads to a disciplined life. I'm not going to meet someone who has a very disciplined life who does not also have a very disciplined mind. The two just simply go together. So the purpose of the content that I teach is that way. It's manifold in its purpose. It keeps you encouraged, it keeps you inspired, and there's knowledge there, but it gets you grounded. And that's what we're talking about this week, is being really grounded in absolutes so that you can deal with disappointment before disappointment becomes something much worse, which is discouragement. And we'll talk about dealing with discouragement finally in the next episode. But to finish up on the issue of dealing with disappointment, if you can, as I said, get to that place where your mind is more preoccupied, or you are much, much more hungry about the ideals and the absolutes and the knowledge and the truth than you are people and circumstances, then what you're going to realize is not just that you become stronger, but that you realize that you can depend on these absolutes to the degree that no matter what circumstances come your way, you are able to figure out new ways to overcome, to get around, to push through what you're facing. And that's important to know, because when people sometimes face continual resistance in their life, man, they tend to give up. Or they'll tend to say, well, the principles just don't work. They don't work for me. I'm chosen by the heavens to always be this way. I'll always be a loser. I'll never win. I'll never get what other people have. I know I want it, but I'll never get it. And woe is me. That's what you do. You start doubting the absolutes. Disappointment leads to doubting absolutes. And that's the important point. Disappointment leads to doubting absolutes. Therefore, the cure for disappointment is to learn to have trust and faith and confidence in the absolutes. Well, CJ, how do I do that? Well, I just told you all this week. It's 2 + 2 = 4. How are you going to doubt that? So, in other words, whatever issue you're facing in life, there are principles involved there which are just as absolute as 2 + 2 = 4. Therefore, learn the principles in those areas which are the most absolute, and you'll be able to deal with the disappointment. The more of the absolutes that you're focused on are as close to truth, like 2 + 2 = 4, the more confidence you're going to have. And as I said earlier this week, it's not so much that I personally have great self-confidence, but that I have confidence in the absolutes, and that creates this sense of personal self-confidence. But it's really not confidence in myself, because I know I'm just another changing circumstance. My health could deteriorate. Anything could happen to me. I am just as much in flux, meaning in change. I am just as much affected by change as my circumstances that I'm disappointed in, or the people that I'm disappointed in. But still, the absolutes remain the same. Therefore, my confidence is not so much in me. My confidence is in the absolutes of this world, the assurance that I have in the principles of this world to govern the areas of change and achievement that I want to see in my life. That is what I'm confident in. That is what I think about. That is what I consider. And that creates confidence. That creates confidence. And I realize the only thing I need to do is keep loving that wisdom. Keep desiring and pursuing that knowledge. Keep the fan to flame, the fire burning for the absolutes, and to let these things be my passion, to read about them, to listen to people about them, to talk about them, to make that the sole purpose of my life pursuit. And that's the way it's always been for me. And that's what led me eventually to, becoming this mental motivation thing and teaching people and doing all that. It's not because I saw it as a good gig. The reason is that it was the natural outgrowth of my own personal passion for knowledge, my own personal passion for truth, my own personal passion for absolutes. And this is what I've grown to understand, that there are absolutes, and this will transform your life, man. And I've come back to these things again and again throughout all of these video series, because it is all based on these central theses, these central tenets to this metallosophy, this a philosophy of life that's based on something that's true. It's not something that is the latest thing. I don't teach the latest thing. I don't teach whatever is trendy now, or what. I just don't do that. It's about absolutes. I'm not trying to teach you to hack into your brain no. There's nothing new under the sun, man, and I really believe that. We've always been mankind will always deal with the same things. So, the absolutes have been here since then. Math has been here since the beginning. The sun and the moon, all that, since the beginning. The absolutes that were taught, even before electricity was discovered, it was in this world, was it not? Before men were flying, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years before we ever took flight, were the laws of flight existent in the world? Of course they were. We just haven't discovered them yet. But they are sure, and we can have confidence in them. So these things are unchanging. So consider that even when it comes to yourself, you may be just as fluctuating and apt to change as the circumstances and people that you're disappointed in. So that's why you can be disappointed in yourself. People are disappointed in themselves because they are subject to change. All the more reason to focus on the absolutes. Can you dig it? Hope you can.